I got to holler at her about one recently, but it's cool though. I just appreciate the support. She's been an amazing supporter of just me and the Patriots. She wasn't a football girl before I converted her over, but I'm just thankful to have her in my corner. She's an amazing woman, and continue to build that relationship. I don't talk too much about my personal life, but she's an amazing woman. I just appreciate her, and hopefully I can build.
Okay, you guys, so I'm trying to get to the bottom of what's really being said versus what people are choosing to hear. Because Stefon Diggs has the internet in a chokehold again. And this time, it's not about contracts, touchdowns, or baby mama discourse. It's about Cardi B. Yes, Cardi B. Stefon Diggs went on record saying he's thankful to have Cardi B in his corner, talking about how she wasn't even a football girl before he came into her life, and now look at her. Front row, cheering, locked in, learning the game, defending her man like it's fourth and goal. And immediately the internet did what the internet does best, twisted it, dragged it, and tried to make it deeper than what it is. So let's talk about it. Now, here are the receipts, because people love to act like this came out of thin air. In a recent interview and follow-up comments floating around sports blogs and social media, Stefon Diggs spoke openly about Cardi B supporting him in his career. He said she wasn't into football before they got together, but now she's invested, she's present, and she's supportive. He also credited her with helping him tune out online noise and drama. And before anyone starts screaming think pieces, let's be clear. This is not a crime, this is not an insult, and this is not some secret coded diss. According to the blind item reads circulating, fans are split on whether this was him praising her growth or subtly flexing his influence, and that's where the controversy started. Here's where it gets interesting, because Cardi B is not just any celebrity girlfriend. This is a woman who has lived her entire adult life in public, been criticized from every angle, and survived internet hate campaigns that would have folded most people. So when Diggs says she wasn't a football girl before him, that's not shade, it's context. Let's be real, a lot of women are not checking for football until they have a reason to, and a lot of men don't suddenly start caring about fashion weeks, runway culture, or rap beef timelines until they're dating someone in that world. That's not manipulation, that's proximity. It really makes you wonder why people are acting brand new about this. Relationships influence habits, interests, and routines. That's normal. What's not normal is how people immediately jump to narratives about control, branding, or Cardi changing herself for a man. If this is true, and again, we're talking about public comments, not secret audio, then all Diggs did was acknowledge that Cardi showed up and learned his world. That's not no light work, especially for someone who doesn't need to do it. And let's also address the elephant in the room, the online drama. Cardi B has been under constant scrutiny lately, between her divorce, motherhood, new relationships, and endless commentary from blogs. She's been in the line of fire non-stop. So Diggs saying she helped him block out noise goes both ways. Athletes deal with criticism differently, but the pressure is real. Having a partner who understands public backlash is valuable. That's not PR, that's survival. Now, allegedly, some fans are trying to spin this into a narrative that Cardi is being molded or converted in a negative sense, and I'm calling nonsense on that. Conversion doesn't mean control, it means exposure. Nobody dragged Beyoncé for learning football when she married Jay-Z. Nobody dragged Ciara for understanding Russell Wilson's playbook, but Cardi gets judged because people still don't know how to see her outside of chaos. Let's be real again. Cardi B supporting football does not erase who she is. It doesn't rewrite her past. It doesn't make her less authentic. If anything, it shows adaptability, and that's something the internet loves to preach but hates to see in practice. People say grow, evolve, do better, but the moment someone does, suddenly it's suspicious. Y'all also need to stop acting like Cardi B is sitting there with a rule book being forced to memorize stats. This is a grown woman choosing to support her partner. Full stop. If she's learning the game, asking questions, showing up to games, that's her decision. And if Diggs appreciates that, he's allowed to say it out loud. Now, I want to hear from y'all on this part specifically, because this is where opinions really split. Do you think Stefon Diggs was genuinely giving Cardi B her flowers for showing up in his world? Or do you think the wording rubbed people the wrong way because of how the internet already feels about their relationship? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. What people are really reacting to here is not what Stefon Diggs said, it's what his statement represents in the bigger picture. Cardi B is a woman the public has boxed into chaos, scandal, and noise for years. So when she's seen being calm, supportive, and locked into her partner's world, it disrupts the narrative. And instead of recalibrating their perspective, folks get uncomfortable. Because let's be honest, a lot of people only know how to consume Cardi when she's arguing, clapping back, or trending for controversy. Seeing her in supportive girlfriend mode doesn't fit the caricature they've been selling her. This is where gender expectations creep in heavy. When a woman adapts to a man's world, especially a high-profile athlete, people immediately assume submission. But when men adapt to women's worlds, it's framed as growth or maturity. That double standard is loud. Cardi learning football is seen as her changing herself, but Diggs learning how to navigate rap culture, public scrutiny, and celebrity gossip would never be framed the same way. That imbalance is why this conversation feels so charged. Let's also talk about the word converted, because that's what really sent people over the edge. Some heard that and immediately jumped to control narratives, but context matters. In everyday language, people say, he converted me to sushi, she converted me to Pilates, they converted me to their team. It's casual language, not a confession of dominance, but because it's Cardi B, every word gets treated like evidence in a trial that only exists online. It really makes you wonder why people refuse to allow her to just exist in a relationship without turning it into a power struggle. Cardi B has been the breadwinner, the headline, the cultural force for years. The idea that she's suddenly being molded or reshaped by a man ignores everything we've watched her survive and build. If anything, choosing to show up quietly for someone after years of chaos is a form of control over her own narrative, not surrender. Another uncomfortable truth is that some fans don't like seeing women center men in any capacity, even when it's healthy. Support has been rebranded as weakness online, especially for women with loud personalities. Cardi can run a tour, raise kids, dominate charts, and still care about her partner's career. Those things are not mutually exclusive, but social media acts like they are. And let's not ignore how sports culture plays into this too. Athletes' partners are often expected to be present, supportive, and involved, but only if they stay silent and invisible. Cardi doesn't do invisible, so when she shows up loudly, proudly, and authentically, it disrupts the NAWG stereotype people are comfortable with. She's not shrinking herself to fit the NFL aesthetic, and that's what's really rubbing people wrong. If this is true in the sense that Diggs feels supported and Cardi feels included, then this relationship dynamic is actually pretty standard, just magnified because of who they are. Two public figures learning each other's worlds, defending each other from noise, and choosing alignment over performance. That's not no light work in an environment designed to tear couples apart. What also needs to be said is that fans sometimes project their own relationship trauma onto celebrities. A lot of the backlash feels less about Cardi and more about people's unresolved issues with compromise, vulnerability, and partnership. It's easier to label something as problematic than to admit you've never experienced mutual support at that level. So here's the real question y'all should be asking yourselves. Why does it bother you more to see Cardi B supporting a man than it ever bothered you to see her in constant conflict? Why is peace suspicious, but chaos familiar? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, because this conversation says a lot more about the audience than it does about the couple.